You can't hear me?
Well, we can hear you, can't see you.
Can't see me? Wait a minute. I don't know.
Where are you?
John, what sweatshirt do you have on? Villanova?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Go
I'm in-
Wildcats.
Yeah, and St. Peter's.
yeah.
That's pretty
Are you,
cool.
did any of your kids go to Villanova or no?
My
My
daughter
son,
graduated.
my son's on the faculty there.
Oh, neat. Okay.
John, what does he teach?
Philosophy.
Oh my gosh, I'm right around the block. I should, give him my email. We'll have lunch or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about you.
He teaches philosophy to basketball players.
I'm sure. Hey, that Colin Gillespie guy is really some guy, I'll tell you.
Well,
You know,
My
one
son-
of the things, go ahead.
my son taught him, okay, philosophy.
Is that right?
And he wasn't that good of a student, I'll tell you that.
Hey, what basketball players are good students, right? Chuckle, chuckle.
Oh, you
Oh.
were, Lou.
Yeah, Louis Horvath, John Prusick, Bob Wechter, those are all good students.
Well,
One
yeah, I
of the
think-
things I have to share before we get started is, John, you remember when we were playing, and my one regret, and I never shared this with anybody, but my biggest regret when played basketball, that they outlawed the dunk during our years. Remember that?
Yeah,
You could not dunk in the game,
Yeah.
and it was like, why?
and you were about the only high school guy back then that could dunk, so.
Oh, I loved it. It was fulfilling when you can dunk. Oh,
Well, I think the basketball players in March Madness, when it's one and done, they need a good grounding in philosophy to handle the losses.
yeah. Oh
Gotta-
my God,
Got to see the big picture.
Yeah, right, right. Particularly if you were seated number one.
Now there's
And get knocked
Kevin.
off by St. Peter's.
Yeah.
Kevin, where are you?
Well, I'm
saw
here,
him.
but I
He's
don't, I
here.
don't know. Oh, I'm in El Salvador, but I'm not sure
Hmm.
why there's no picture.
You got to.
I mean,
I can see you.
Oh, you can see me.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. I can't see you now, but anyway, whatever.
Where are you?
I'm in El Salvador.
Oh, okay. How's everything there?
Not too good.
Ooh.
Not too good. There
Well-
was 76 assassinations in the last 2 days.
Ooh,
Haven't heard about today, but they had an emergency meeting of Congress this morning, giving the president exceptional powers. So I'm not sure
What that
what
means.
that's all going to mean. He can call curfews, he can listen to telephones, they can close the airport, they can do all kinds of stuff. He has
Oh.
emergency powers for 30 days. But that's all we know so far.
who's being assassinated?
Just people. There is 70,000 members of gangs in El Salvador. El Salvador is the size of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
There are 70,000 gang members, and it's the gangs that are doing this, and they're not sure why.
Wow.
Ooh.
No, it's not a political uprising or anything like that. It's just
No,
turf
No.
wars.
yeah, well, the gangs really have a lot to do with, they have a lot of power
Yeah, yeah, I've
in the
heard
whole
that.
country.
Oh,
And evidently, he had a kind of a convenio, a kind of a agreement with them for the last months and stuff to lower the violence, and it was being lowered. So something's going on that they want. So I don't know what it is. But this just happened this morning,
Wow.
wow.
in the last 2 days with the assassinations. And I haven't heard any numbers for today yet.
Kevin, you mentioned assassinations as opposed to just gang killings.
That's
is
what
that a
they're
reason?
calling them now. I don't know, maybe that's just the Spanish word, it's assassinación. They're using assassination. That's the word they're using.
Yeah. Wow. Almost like a failed state. I mean,
So
Mexico.
Reggie, let us know how you're doing.
Yeah,
We're all worried about you. We read about this English teacher from Minnesota that was detained in Crimea for 10 days because he was American. What's going on with you?
Well, I didn't hear that about the teacher from Minnesota. I didn't hear that at all. It probably wasn't reported in the news over here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how do I look? Cheers.
Well, you you look pretty good.
You know, I got a little sun the last few days. Finally, we've had some sun. Spring has been very late in coming. We had the worst winter that people can remember. But the last few days have been very sunny. It's beautiful here. I've been interviewed a number of times recently on platforms in the United States, a couple in New York City, Washington, DC, somebody out in Texas. And the first question they asked me is, how are things? And the thing that I really like to comment on is we're very safe here. There's no danger here for anybody here or on the Russian mainland. It's just the conflict is pretty far from here and it's pretty much taken care of. But what I try to let people know is here in Crimea, the feeling is very different than on the mainland. Because ever since Nikita Khrushchev during the Soviet Union gave Crimea to Kiev, Ukraine, administratively. At the time, it was all one country. It wasn't a big deal. But in all of these years, since 1951, there has been intermarriage. They were all of the same Soviet Union. And so almost everybody here has somebody on the other side of the border. And the mood here in Crimea is life is going on as usual, but a lot of people, including my partner, are having trouble sleeping. They're tormented by this because they have family members and friends on the other side who they don't hear from anymore. They don't know if they're alive or dead, safe or whatever. And the sad thing about it is these families and friends are divided politically. Some are very pro-Ukraine, others are very pro-Russia, and they don't speak to each other. And so I was just coming home the other day in a taxi cab, and the driver, he said, I don't like Putin. I don't like war. And I said, yeah, no, I don't like war either. But he was from Donetsk in the Donbass region, which has been heavily shelled and thousands of people have been killed. Yeah, he was feeling very sad about it. And so that's kind of the mood here where I'm living. I will tell you this, as a result of the sanctions that the US and the EU just recently put on Russia, food prices, the cost of everything has gone up about 30%. We just went to the market today, and what usually would be about $30 in groceries for a week ended up costing $50 or $60. So that's basically what's going on here, guys. Life is really going on as usual, but we're all kind of bearing the heavy burden of having family and relatives and friends on the other side.
Reg, when I checked in with you a month ago, maybe you were traveling a day's travel to the mainland, get cash. How is, through a credit card at bank, how is that working?
It's all over. Visa ceased to operate on March 10th, the day we were returning, and I had hoped to get the last of my money out, and Visa wasn't working. So right now, I'm having to work very circuitously with a third country to get my money. I'm not going to mention that. Just you never know who's listening to this, but yeah, it could be tight if this doesn't work.
Mhm, mhm.
I'll teach English, and
Yeah.
I know really there's a good market for that here. People have been telling me I should have done it a long time ago, but why work when I don't have to? I think it would be easier to stand in one of the underground across the street crossings with a cup and make myself look really old and feeble and wait for donations. So that's what's happening, guys.
Well,
yeah.
this English teacher, Reggie from Minnesota, he was stopped at some checkpoint on some road in Crimea. And they held him for 10 days.
Well, was he coming from Ukraine into Crimea?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no checkpoints anywhere in Crimea except at the border with Ukraine. And there are a lot of people fleeing in all directions from Ukraine, but from that southeastern part of Ukraine, with the border between Crimea, it's the only land connection. Everybody that comes across is being examined, questioned, and maybe because he was an American, it took a while before they figured out that he was probably okay.
Yeah.
Reggie, I don't have a map in front of me, but refresh me. Is Yalta in the Crimea?
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
southern part?
Yeah. And we're on the Black Sea, and it's right on the
Right.
coast.
And,
If you
and where's Mariupol? Compared to, it's up north or northeast of you, right?
it is, and it's on the Azov Sea.
Right.
Odessa, a little bit further down, is on the Black Sea.
Right, okay.
And-
Yeah,
and-
I'm remembering that.
Yeah,
I was just wondering where Mariupol was. That's right out, it's not, is it Crimea, Mariupol? No.
no,
It's
no.
between Crimea and the mainland.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's on the other side of the Azov Sea. Yeah.
Wow.
Regis, where do you think this whole conflict is going to go?
Um,
From your perspective?
Well, of course, I follow this practically all day long. I have a number of Russian sources, a number of friends, independent journalists. There's a Brit, there's an American, a couple of Americans who are in Ukraine right now reporting daily with videos. And from all of these sources, it's clear that the first phase of the Russian occupation is not occupation. It's not an occupation. The first phase of this Russian initiative has been to demilitarize the Ukrainian army. Number one, to prevent it from the continued shelling of the eastern region, the Donbass region that broke away in 2014. There's been over 15,000 people who have been killed in the last 8 years. So that was a primary objective. Everything I'm hearing, and I believe it because it's coming from different sources, including the Russian Ministry of Defense, which is typically very tight-lipped about any information they give out, that the Ukrainian army now is not an effective fighting force. It's a matter of time before these neo-Nazi battalions, which are very powerful and large numbers, 60 to 70,000 of them still fighting. It's only a matter of time before that part of it is completely over. They're surrounded, they're overwhelmed, their transportation corridors have been all cut off, so they cannot get additional fuel, weapons, food, water. So that's what's really happening on the ground in Ukraine. What is going to happen ultimately? Boy, I can't tell you. Everybody is speculating about that. Everything from the Russian side is going to install a new government in Kiev with a new constitution that will declare its complete neutrality and no relations with NATO. Another opinion is that Russia is going to agree with NATO countries to balkanize or divide Ukraine. Poland will get the western part, which they really would like to have. Down in Moldova, in that area, they will take a piece of it. I don't know. Russia has stated that it does not want to break up the Ukraine. It wants to maintain it intact, but with a new constitution declaring its neutrality. There's a third view that believes that this will end in a direct conflict between NATO and the United States. And that can only end very, very badly. So your guess is as good as anybody. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on that. It's, you know, the United States and NATO have sent another 40,000 troops to places like Poland, Hungary, Romania, to beef up their security forces. They're not in any danger of being invaded by Russia. Russia's not looking to do that at all. So that's where it is from now. For now, from my
Reg,
perspective.
You haven't mentioned the nuclear age.
The what?
I think if this were, you haven't mentioned nuclear issues. I think if this were pre-nuclear, we might be in a world war already.
What I meant by the direct contact between Russia, NATO, and the United States, when I said it'll end badly,
Oh, yeah?
what
Well.
I implied by that is that can only go nuclear.
All right.
I
Yeah.
also understand that Ukraine has a number of nuclear weapons as well. Is that correct?
No, they
No.
don't. They do not have
They-
any nuclear weapons.
They
were
don't have
hoping-
any?
No.
Oh.
In 1998, Louis, in 1991, they gave up all their nuclear arsenal, which was Soviet and stored there at the time of the breakup in return for a 90% vote on independence. They wanted to be
Oh.
independent.
Correct. Correct.
People say that was a mistake these days.
I think it's good that they don't have nuclear weapons because right now they.
Well, that's an issue. You know, people are looking around the world and say, hey, if I don't have a nuclear weapon, I can't protect myself anymore.
Exactly. North Korea. Same thing. You know,
Yeah, right.
they've
Everybody,
developed-
yeah, everybody wants
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the UN appears to be worthless anymore. I mean, nobody, I mean, you know, that's not helping anybody. Nobody, they don't work together at all. They can't. It doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, yeah, that's really
I
sad.
mean, giving the 5 nations a veto on anything was kind of a stupid idea anyway, but I guess that's the only way they could get it initially formed. And, you know, so it doesn't do anything but talk.
Yeah. I don't know.
Wasn't that
if-
It's very scary. I think it's very scary these days. Really,
Oh,
I
it
don't know
is.
what's gonna.
Oh, it is. John has been telling me to get out of Dodge. I'll tell you what, if it goes nuclear, there's no Dodge to get out of anywhere. It's going to be over.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you can only hope they use tactical regional nuclear weapons and not the ICBMs that'll blow up, you know, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, that kind of shit.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
The Russians believe that any tactical nuclear weapons are going to lead to the ultimate. They know what
Oh,
that
yeah.
means. That's just a buildup. And then who are they going to use them on? Are they going to use them on Russia? And Putin has promised a year ago, and he's reaffirmed that in the last few months, that any attack on Russia by anybody will result in Russia unleashing its complete nuclear arsenal on Europe and the United States. That's the unthinkable. That I do not want to think about that.
Here's a
Well-
question that I grapple with is, as it relates to the nuclear situation. I know under Reagan's administration that they were looking at a Star Wars. So my question is, do we secretly have in this country a shield to protect the United States? Is that so high secret that we know, we are confident that no one's going to be able to penetrate in certain areas? I don't know.
Well, the question is, even if you get a nuclear explosion high in the
Yeah.
atmosphere, what does that
Yeah,
do?
right. Yeah.
It
Exactly.
spreads radiation even farther, even though there may not be destruction on the ground, you know.
And not only that, it knocks out all of satellite communications. So every city will go dark everywhere.
Yeah.
So nobody is safe. Nobody is safe from a nuclear confrontation. Nobody.
MAD, mutually assured destruction, is
Yeah.
appropriate description.
Exactly.
So Reggie,
I
did
don't
Biden's speech get much play over your way?
No, everything that I saw, everything I saw of his speech came from the US side, mainstream media, and then a lot of alternative platforms. He's appearing very, very weak to people here. People do not believe that he's in charge.
Well, you don't get any press either from that. I mean, how can you say that? You can say that if you have a VPN, but all those who don't have a VPN have state, all they get is, propaganda, if you will. So it's hard to know.
Yeah,
Although Biden's speeches are, he's getting more angry as all the West is. I mean, the ultimate solution is to take out Putin at this point, or from all the West.
um,
However that can happen, radiation poisoning,
they've
snipers, whoever, but that seems to be the immediate solution from the West side.
from the West side. And you know what? Lindsey Graham, there's other people in the West that are calling for the assassination of Putin.
Right.
I mean, my God, if you're a Russian and if you're Putin, if you're the military of defense, that's basically a declaration of war. The next step is to push the button. I mean, how foolish can they be? I mean, this is against the United Nations Charter. It's against international law. To call.
Well, so is shelling civilians, Red. So let's not go too far.
Yeah, I know. But when you call for the assassination of the head of a country, I mean, what if Russia called for the assassination of Biden, or Clinton or Obama? It's like,
well, words are just words until you bring out the nukes. I'm just saying that, it's all propaganda and posturing. It's almost like high school, for Christ's sake. Everybody's trying, who's the most popular and what clique is on the ascendancy, what clique is in descendancy, all that good stuff. It's really it's scary in a sense, because people really don't know how to deal with mutually assured destruction.
yeah. So
Other than try to avoid it. And the only way you'd avoid it right at this point is to let Russia do what it wants.
That's basically what Biden has said. He's basically said what's going on over there is between Russia and Ukraine. And on the other hand,
I think that's a little bit of bullshit. I think U.S. is using Ukraine as a proxy war. Really,
bingo. We're in agreement right there. Yeah.
Is there much opposition to Putin in Russia?
John, really a good question. Everybody is asking about that. Let me answer it this way. A independent poll, and this company in Russia has been doing it for a number of years, highly respected. Before February 24th, when Russia intervened in Ukraine, Putin's popularity rating was around the mid-60s. Last week, the same poll had his popularity rating at 77.6%.
Wow.
Now, that said, John, I want to make it very clear. there have been widespread protests against this war,
Right.
not against Putin, against the war, just like there have been in Europe and the United States. People, the vast majority of people, I think, are against war. And many, many people everywhere now are protesting very actively and vigorously against this war. The same as we did when Bush 1 and Bush 2 went into Iraq. The same thing that many of us did when the United States bombed Libya. So that's not surprising. Are people being arrested? You bet they are. Same as in the United States for having protests that block daily activity, daily commerce, and daily movement of people in their ordinary lives. You can protest, but you can't do that kind of blocking of civil life.
I don't think there anybody's getting arrested here, Reg.
Yeah. Oh, are you kidding?
I mean, if you want to talk at a traffic violation for blocking an intersection, possibly, but that's about it.
You want to know something, guys? You got to be aware of this. The Patriot Act, right after 9/11, shortly after next year under Obama, the National Defense Authorization Act, and last year and a half ago, the what the heck was they call it? The Anti-Dissident Act or Anti-Protest Act, which declares that anybody that speaks against the government narrative in the United States will disappear without charges. Nobody's going to hear from you again. I'd love to come back to the United States, but I tell you what, because of the work that I've been doing here, all the videos I've made to counter the American narrative and to try to show Russia and the Russian people through my eyes, I would be grabbed immediately coming through customs and immigration. I'd be interrogated, and then I think I would disappear. I'm serious. You can't speak out against the government there. What they're doing right now, and a number of my friends have been not only blocked on social media, but completely deplatformed. That's what they're doing right now. But legally, according to these three laws, anybody who speaks out, who's got a powerful enough voice and audience, is subject to being grabbed, arrested without charge and gone. That's pretty serious.
I read something recently that talked about a country's mythology in terms of how strong the myth making is in a country to allow the citizens to stand up and fight, as opposed to, let's say, soldiers who are getting paid or reaping the rewards of war. But it was kind of an interesting thought about, what do you think about your own country and how do you think about it and how do you learn it to make you, stand up and fight for something. What at the World War II in the US, we have afraid the greatest generation, supposedly the people that went in and defended World War II. And does anybody want to fight anymore? And of course, you said it right, Reg. Everybody in war, just the average citizen is the ones that get killed and displaced. The soldiers, they live and die. Maybe they signed up for that, maybe, unless they were conscripted. But it always strikes me as interesting how a leadership, maybe whether it be autocracy or democracy, how you can get soldiers to lay down their lives in a major war, major conflict,
Yeah, I have two of my sons who are in the Army. The oldest one, he's 34. He's a Green Beret. He's been in for 14 years now.
Where's he deployed?
He was in Afghanistan for a year.
Oh.
Then he was deployed to Germany, where he then deployed several times to Ukraine, where he trained Ukrainian forces. The youngest one is an Apache helicopter pilot. They're both right now stationed. The youngest one, the pilot, is in Tennessee somewhere. The younger one is associated with Fort Bragg. But this is what I wanted to tell you of both of them. I've asked them, what do you think about this conflict? And they both said, these politicians, it was Biden, it was Trump, it was even Obama, are totally out of their minds. And they both said, we don't have any confidence in our senior command or any of these politicians. The older one, the Green Beret, he doesn't have to get out, but he's sick of it. He had a combat sustained injury where a couple of vertebrae in his back were damaged, and he just recently had this disc replacement operation. He now is applying for a medical disability, combat-related injury, and will be out of the Army within a few months. He didn't have to do that. He's been playing golf. He's been jumping out of airplanes as a special demonstration team, but he's so fed up with it, as so many of his guys are, Green Berets. He said, our guys are leaving like crazy because they just don't want to do this anymore. The younger one, I don't know what his feelings are about going to Ukraine or a combat zone, but he too doesn't have confidence in their senior command. And I think that's probably a reflection of a lot of guys in the United States military. This has been going on for 20, 25 years, where these
Iraq and Afghanistan haven't brought any successes.
Yeah, well, these guys been deployed there and redeployed over and over and over again. They're just tired of this.
And even in Vietnam, already,
Exactly.
all the body counts and all the deception going on there. So I'm not sure any government ever tells the truth to its people, Charlie.
You're probably right, especially, well, I don't want to say.
I mean, that's how you get in the government and stay there. You lie to everybody, even in a democracy.
You talked about body counts. Until yesterday, the Russian Ministry of Defense had not revealed one casualty in this war until yesterday. What they released were there's been some 1,600 Russian soldiers who have been killed, another 3,000 wounded, and an unknown number of missing in action or taken prisoner. There was several videos that just went around the last 2 days that showed these neo-Nazi battalions from the Azov battalion that had, I don't know, 5 or 6 Russian soldiers tied up on the ground. They shot them in the legs, broke their legs, and beat them. And some of them, one of them was on camera that I was seeing. He died, he bled out. This has been, it's gone viral. I don't know if you guys would ever see any of that stuff, but it's really, it's ferocious.
I am skeptical and cynical of all kinds of war propaganda of either side.
And you should be. You should be. Anyway, that's what the Russian Ministry of Defense revealed for the first time to the Russian people. How accurate it is, I don't know. Maybe we won't know until it's all over.
Oh yeah, for example, Reg, the West media says 15,000 Russians have been killed.
Oh no.
And don't shake your head. I don't know. I'm just reporting it. You don't know either. So just don't be up an apologist all of a sudden.
But
not
Bob,
all of a sudden.
No, Bob, I have a better idea of what's going on the ground than people on your side of the continent, of the ocean. And there is no way that Russia has sustained that kind of casualties.
No, I'm not saying, I'm saying it's a number that's been in the headlines here, but I don't, again, I don't know how accurate it is at all. And
I think we only have.
And I suspect in war, one of the greatest weapons of war is information, misinformation, and propaganda. In addition to weapons.
Yeah, and the first thing that dies in war is the truth.
Yeah. Right. So it's hard to know, really.
Yeah.
Really.
I think we'll have a pretty good idea within a few weeks, a very few weeks, when this thing finally comes to an armed conflict. Then we'll know. We'll have a better idea of what's going on.
Well, if you don't want a major disruption, I think basically Ukraine is going to have to be sacrificed to Russia at some point, despite what anybody, the West might want. And whether it be carved up or dummy government, or whether there's be an insurrection or, what do you call it, underground insurrection for the next 20 years, who knows? But that's the only way you're going to prevent, I think, everybody getting into it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's, as you said a few minutes ago, we're in a very dangerous place, very
It
dangerous
is.
place.
Yeah.
No matter who you are and where you are, I mean, life here on the planet is hanging in the balance. And, I've been saying for a long time, and there's a lot of people here that, not just here, but everywhere, they hope that nobody is crazy enough to push the button.
Or not.
But what everybody is terrified of is an accident, a misjudgment.
Right.
From some of these very close encounters between Russian, United States, and NATO forces. This is what people are really afraid of. We've come close several times. Will we be lucky enough to survive the next close call?
And I was going to mention, did you read about the temperatures in Antarctica? The 70 plus degrees, 70 higher than normal, and everything's collapsing. The ice shelf is collapsing, and it's like, what the hell's going on?
Well,
in addition to the war,
we had this winter, the worst winter that anybody here remembers in their lifetime.
You mean
In
cold
Yalta,
weather?
Winter. We had snow 5 or 6 times, 2 different times. Everything was blocked. There were 4 or 5 inches of snow here. In a little higher altitudes, they had a foot of snow. This was unheard of. But you know what the problem, the fear is, Bob, up in the Arctic, as it's melting, and these bacteria that have been frozen for millions of years are now being released or will be released shortly. This is another fear that a lot of people have, especially scientists who know about that.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've read a lot about that. I've heard a lot about that. And it is a real danger because we have nothing to fight them with.
I remember reading a story about how they tried to assess the 1918 influenza by, I don't know where, it was somewhere hot, way up north. Soldiers that were sick were buried in a cemetery that was frozen for most of the time. And they actually got scientists got authority to go dig these people up and try to find the 1918 flu epidemic, and try to analyze it and see what it was and all that. I read an article about that. It was pretty interesting that they were actually be able to do that and try to find that from the frozen ground. And so you're saying, yeah, way up in Antarctica, stuff has been up there forever. It could cause havoc. Definitely.
Hey, so let me ask you guys a question. Everybody's talking about these sanctions that have backfired on Europe and the United States. It's been reported, and I've heard from friends there already, that gas prices are going through the ceiling. I don't know how high they are in California, but I've heard that they're close to $6-7.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's up. We're the highest generally because we have the highest gas tax. And it's up to $6.
So how is the United States dealing with that? And are food shelves in the supermarkets, empty? Are people, having a run on commodities and that kind of stuff? I'm just wondering what's happening.
Inflation is huge, but there's not like a panic like you're describing. But people are paying more for food and for gas. We are.
Yeah. Remember, what was it in the 70s when we had, you had to buy gas on alternate days depending on your license
Yeah,
plate
they
or
had
something?
big
Remember that?
lines outside the
Yeah,
gas.
lines like crazy.
Yeah.
Hasn't started that. That hasn't been at all a problem here yet.
But
Um,
Reggie, I got a few more questions for you. So are you like a Solero American over there, or do you have an American community, or what's going on?
I don't have an American community. I do have a handful of American friends. Well, I'd say a dozen between here in Crimea and on the Russian mainland. There are thousands of expats like me, Americans, and even more from other countries who have been living here, working here for a long, long time. One of my American friends in St. Petersburg has been here for 25 years. He's kind of a financial analyst and this kind of thing. So yeah, I guess I am kind of a Solero here. I mean, I'm on my own. I will tell you this though. My visa runs out in August, and I have a little bit of concern about that. I'm trying to get residency here so that I don't have to just always rely on the visa. Every 6 months, you're supposed to leave the country just for a day and then come back. But that's no longer an option given COVID, where almost everything is blocked. Airline coming in and out of here are very close to almost nothing. And the conflict in Ukraine. So that's going to be a problem for me. I already can't get my pension money, and but I'm hoping that I have found a way to get around that.
I had some toast.
So that's basically the best I can do to answer that question, John.
Oh, if you wanted to leave, could you?
Oh, yeah, but I wouldn't dare to come back to the United States. I really believe that I'll be arrested, questioned as soon as I cross. They know who I am. I mean, John, I've made so many videos trying to show the Russian people and life here to Americans in the West. I've done a lot of political views on my video podcast that for certain would, yeah, I wouldn't want
Reg,
to.
I'm not an international traveler. Can you just go to another country, not come back to US?
Yeah, and the same thing happens again when you go to another country. You know, you have very similar problems. You're an expat, you have no contacts. You know, that's possible, but for right now, I'm not in that kind of desperate panic stage where I'm looking to do that.
Where
What
would
happens if you
go?
just overstay your visa, just like everybody does in the US?
Probably nothing for quite a while. They'd have no way really of knowing. Well, they
Right.
would, but for them to track entry and departure records would be so low on anybody's agenda that it's not going to be that big of a problem.
Where would you go, Reggie, if you left?
Let me answer it this way. I know several people, Americans and others, who are looking to leave places like Georgia, Moldova, some of the stands, and coming to Russia because they believe Russia is a better and a safer place to live. I think if I were to leave here, and this is the first time I've even given it any thought, maybe Ireland or Scotland. Yeah, so
What about Rome? Come on. You know, you have some familiarity with Rome.
well, exactly, and I'm fluent. It may take a a few weeks for it all to come flooding back, but yeah, that could be an alternative. Not Rome, not Rome. I'd find some little villa somewhere north of Rome, and hope that my pension would be enough to live on.
Wow.
Oh, goodness.
I'm sitting here listening to this, with the ice melting and war and the history and democracy, oligarchies, and I'm asking myself the question: what kind of world are we leaving to our grandchildren?
Mm.
It just saddens me to, somebody's making a mess of this, and we haven't figured it out in all these years, where it just not that complicated. It's like the AT&T commercial. It's not that complicated. We haven't figured it out.
Yeah, it's like the whole world is turned upside down. You talk about worrying about our grandchildren. My daughter just gave birth to her third, and I'm going, wow, if I were going to bring children into the world at her age, I'd be thinking really seriously about not doing that. But let me tell you this. I've been doing a Zoom meeting with some 30 people from around the world, like-minded people concerned about the same things. And one of them is a woman, a psychoanalyst, and an astrologer. She doesn't do astrology and palm readings and this kind of stuff, but she and others not of the same persuasion are convinced, and I hope this is the case, we are moving through a transition period to a new type of world system, and one that will leave war behind, will leave conflict behind. I don't know. I'd love to be there if that happens. But what she keeps saying is that we have to stay strong, we have to stay positive, and we have to see this thing through. I have other people that I know who are saying the same thing without the use of astrological charts and all that kind of stuff. They really believe that we're in this transition period. One of my Native American friends, who was in one of my movies from the Penobscot tribe in Maine, she told me on camera that we're in a period like being in the birth canal. It's completely dark, and it's very painful and stressful right now, but there is light at the end of the birth canal. There's new life. That's the perspective from a Native American. I hope that's the case, guys. And may we all be lucky enough to live through and get out that birth canal again.
Yeah. And then summarize it in our Zoom meeting, that would be good. And record it for posterity.
Yeah, I've been recording this one, don't worry.
Well, the history of the world has been full of wars, and you would think that, at least in the last 20, 30 years, and I think this is why the West has gotten so pissed at Putin, is that, we had a global economic interlinkage in which a lot of people were doing pretty well worldwide. And now we're slipping back to a third world war type, possibility that makes people very upset.
Yeah.
And, but again, whether humans are evolving enough to leave war behind and have a peaceful coexistence is maybe asking a little much at this stage. I don't know. We're only 200,000 years old.
Yeah, and 200,000 years ago, they first started throwing stones at each other and stabbing each other.
Right.
And all we've done is improve the weaponry over those 200,000 years, that to the point that now we can destroy ourselves.
Let me throw this out.
Kevin.
There are other ways that we can destroy ourselves.
Yeah.
And you can put all of war aside and all of what's happening there. But in terms of the climate and the earth and what's happening, I don't know. I have my doubts. And I don't know if we're strong enough to stop doing and living the way we are right now. People just
Some
don't
aliens
seem-
will save us, Kevin. And aliens will save us.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Well, there is always the demographic issue of, when do you have too many people for the planet to support? And maybe, pandemics, et cetera, are a way to thin the herd, as they say, so that we can survive a bit longer. But that's always a big macro picture to worry
Yeah.
about.
This
Yeah, there's
discussion
a
kind
lot
of
of things
reminds,
happening out there that can really cause a lot of damage. And it's not just, it's the heating of the oceans and stuff. It's not just what's
Yeah,
happening in
yeah.
Antarctica. That's expanding the water, and it's going to be a real problem.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Louis been trying to jump in.
now, I'm reading a book called Sapiens. It's kind of interesting. It talks about the history of mankind and the future of mankind. I haven't gotten to that one. And they talk about the evolution of different species and the revolutions that they got. Homo sapiens was overtaking another group. And it kind of reminds me of what we're doing today. We got all these fights. With our global pandemic, we can't get a commonality on a scientific element of what causes it, how to treat it, whether masks are effective. Even at a local level, there are fights at the local level. And
Right,
it just
yeah,
amazes me
yeah.
that I'm reading history, and Bob, you're right. We've had these conflicts throughout history, and you wonder where it's going to go in the future.
Mhm. Yeah, the question you ask is the appropriate. Why cannot humans agree on at least some basic science? And it hasn't been happening. And
Even in 1918, they didn't have any agreement about wearing masks and would cause it and separations.
right.
It was just a repeat of what we're doing today. It's just amazing.
Humans are still emotional primarily, and whatever, floats your boat, you believe in. It's kind of like, I want to do this regardless of the science.
Hey, guys, talking about masks and science and COVID, is it still a thing in the United States? I know Florida and Texas are pretty free. Is it,
It's
or
getting
did
down.
it disappear with this conflict in Ukraine, which is what people here think?
I saw a headline today, Hawaii was the last state to rescind mask mandates. So
Really?
there aren't any, although there's the Omicron BA2 variant that is poking around, and it's in LA right now. It's been across the world already, but how bad it is another question, but it's there.
And they're talking about a second booster for
Yeah.
folks our age.
Right.
So,
Well, I saw in the paper today, there's still 30,000 new cases on average in the US,
yeah,
and deaths are down to 700. And that's dropping percentage wise, but it's still a big number depending upon how immunocompromised you are, or how, what kind of other problems you might have. So you can, even with a, mild case, you could still die if you happen to catch the wrong person to catch it. So,
yeah.
And that's always been the problem or the purpose of masking, not just to protect yourself, but to protect others.
Yeah. I don't
And
understand.
now it's gone. Now there are no
the
masks. You don't have to do
anti-vaxxers.
anything. Huh?
I don't understand the anti-vaxxers. I really don't.
Right. Well, I know walking around in the stores here, people still, it's kind of a habit now, and people still will use masks shopping. A lot of people, it's not, they haven't disappeared, although you don't have to wear them, even in LA County.
If you go into healthcare, you have to wear a mask. That's
Right.
what-
Yeah. Right. You still do.
One of the things I don't think anyone is talking about with the global pandemic is, it's one of my kind of a thought, that one of the issues no one's talking about, the American population is we've been unhealthy for many years, and we eat unhealthily, we don't exercise, we don't have a spirituality, and consequently for those people, they're going to, a pandemic is going to affect them more clearly than others. So everyone's talking about the vaccine, and no one's talking about, you've got to be healthy, because if you have a healthy body, you have a better chance of warding off any kind of diseases.
Yeah.
And
I had
nobody
a
was
buddy.
talking-
I had a buddy that he was my roommate when I was in law school. He was at the Chicago Police Academy. He became a Chicago cop and spent his career there, and then retired to Florida. And he caught you know, he caught COVID down in Florida, even though he was fully vaxxed and he wore his mask and he did everything right. He caught COVID and he died. He died of COVID. He had some health issues,
Right.
you know, pre-existing health issues, but he did everything right and it still caught him. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the proverbial roll of the dice where you catch it, who, depending on who you are, like anything, you can either survive it, mild case, or you can be hospitalized, you can go to the ICU, you can die. It's kind of like, I don't want to catch it just because, oh, it's going to be a mild case of the flu. No, I mean, you just don't want to catch it, period.
Yeah.
For that reason. And that's, let me throw this question out. I thought about, did you see Bob Donnelly's email in response? Like, do you have an agenda for today? And the thought occurred to me in terms of the current world situation. What did we learn, if anything, that informs us from novitiate and Father Humphrey? Father Humphrey was a pretty interesting, pivotal character, and most people that went through novitiate. And I couldn't really come up with any life lessons or anything like that, but it was an interesting question, I thought.
I think two things, Bob. With one of the things, not only Father Humphrey and Father Robert, the novitiate, but the whole training. I do this in my teaching as well. I think what we're missing today is values and discipline. And if there's anything that the Carmelite training cultivated within each of us is a value system of ethics, principles, you know, respecting other people. And the other thing, a discipline. I think we're missing discipline today. And I mean, it was discipline in the seminary. It were really pretty structured. But you know, I don't think I was negatively impacted. I feel more free and easy now as a result and much better for it. And I think if I didn't get the seminary training and the interaction with all of my classmates like you, I think I'd be working at a Rite Aid pharmacy, clerking in a pharmacy department. You know, I value my training and my relationship with all of you all.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It totally made me who I am in terms of values, in terms of a whole matter of justice, kindness, charity, these things that they're deeply embedded. And the other thing that I will say, I don't know about everybody, but I learned for the first time in the last year at Niagara and in my years in Rome, for the first time to be able to think for myself and think critically. And
Yep.
It was at that point that I no longer swallowed Kool-Aid from any place, no matter where it came from.
Pay and obey, Jared, pay and obey.
Yeah. But Louis, I couldn't agree more. I think who I am, and I think probably who we are, was formed in all those years that we were in that incubator.
Yeah.
And I think, Bob, the other thing I think they cultivated is just be yourself. Be yourself. Don't get enmeshed in the group thinking process where you, and I think Regis, you said it nicely, is that critical thinking made the difference because, you know, I don't know with this Ukraine war and everything else, where the truth is. You know, I hear things from you, from people in Russia and in the United States, and it's hard to just, what is really the truth and what facts are they hiding? The two things.
Well, Louis,
What
I think that's, I wish that everybody could feel like that, to look at information from wherever it comes and try to decide for yourself, to distill it down to what you believe is a core value. I think you hit it right on the head. Brian.
Let me tell you, I'll tell you a little war story. It's a funny thing. So my son went undergrad at DePaul, the Vincentians. So he's in the student union and he's studying. And it just so happened at that time he was taking ancient Greek. And this Vincentian walked up and looked at him and said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I'm studying ancient Greek." And the Vincentian said to him, "You've just restored my faith in Western civilization."
Hiya, Brian.
Hey, how you guys?
Welcome, Brian.
John,
Hey,
another
thank
thought.
you. Thank you.
You're talking about the Greek. The last 4 years, we're talking about, everyone hears in this country about the threat to democracy. And I don't know if we know what the definition of democracy is anymore. So I decided to go back, and I'm reading a book, I finished it, on early Greek, where democracy got started. And they had as much conflict 2,000 years ago as we do today. And you kind of conclude, this is what humanity is about. Get used to it. It's not going to change for the next 50 years. It's okay. Go to the grocery store. Somebody said to me, if you knew you were going to die tomorrow, what would you do? And I kind of responded that I'd go out and get the biggest chocolate chip ice cream that I could find, because I'm ready to die. It is what it is,
Hey, so Louis, on that point, are we ready to go, guys? We're getting up there. We're 75, 76, 77.
No, we're just kids. We're just kids.
Yeah,
Well, let me,
speak for
let me get-
yourself.
there's
But
one comment from,
If we knew, like Louis just said, we were gonna die tomorrow, what would we do? He'd go out and get the biggest chocolate chip ice cream he could find.
I'd go to Disneyland.
with Colin Gillespie, right?
right, right.
You remember the end of the commercials of the Super Bowl several years ago? I don't know if they do it anymore. They would say like, well, hey, John Elway, or hey, Tom Brady, where
Yeah.
are you going tomorrow? I'm taking my family to Disneyland.
Right. They still do that.
Years ago, when I was at a medical center, when I was in my 30s, we invited a speaker by the name, I think everyone remembers her, Kubler-Ross, who was big in geriatrics and aging and everything else. And we had a 2-day seminar. I never forgot that.
Wow.
And at the end of it, she's like 5'6". She's very short. And she says, I'm going to end my talk, as I always do, when I go into the nursing home and I ask these 90-year-old people, if you had to do it over again, what would you do? And she said, inevitably, every one of them said they would do things differently. And she said, why? I was afraid of making a mistake. I was afraid of being laughed at. I was afraid of this or afraid of that. And that made such a big impression. I was like 33 years old, and I said, the hell with it. I am not going to get to be 77, 75, or 90 years old. And that question is going to be asked of me. And I'm going to say, I wish I did things differently. I started taking risks when I was 33, and I have no regrets. And so I lived it, I relished it, and I enjoyed it,
Yeah, I have to tell you, people have asked me, having been ordained and then leaving and having a family, they say, would you do it again? And I said, of course I would do it all again, because so much of it was enriching and liberating and made me who I am today. I have never thought that would I do it differently. I don't have that choice anyway, but I wouldn't. Lou, I hope that if tomorrow's the day that I go, I hope I have my boots on and my camera in hand and I'm filming something somewhere and I drop.
Yeah, one thing I've often thought about, if I would really regret things in my life when I look back through all those years. And I don't want to regret anything. I mean, things happened and,
Yeah.
I've made mistakes in my life, but I'm not going to regret it. And I just can't believe, right now, if I walk around here and I'm walking around El Salvador and I'm thinking, my God, I never thought I was going to end up in El Salvador or in Mexico or in Peru or wherever I've been. And it's, no, I don't really have
Mhm.
regrets. And in terms of, at this stage of the game, I think if if I came down with cancer or something and they gave me a whole regimen of stuff that I could do, I don't know if I'd do it.
I agree.
I don't know
That's
if
my
I'd
thought.
do
You
it.
know,
I might.
in that,
refuse.
in that vein, you know, going back to Father Humphrey and novitiate, I really can't put or formulate some kind of a life instruction or anything else, but I think what I take away from novitiate is his teachings in psychological development and some spiritualism that opened my mind to how you're formed as a child, early years, parents, and what you come to as a teenager, and take control of your life and kind of get rid of the parental strappings and make your own way. That's all part of his teaching that I can in general appreciate today even.
Yeah, good insight. Do you remember the id, the ego, and the super ego?
Yeah. I think that was my first
Yeah.
introduction. Yeah.
Yeah, I was always wondering if I could ever find my ego.
What was it?
I was
Wasn't there a
so
Still
book
looking,
called
are you still looking, Reggie?
I have a title that came to mind just now. Was it Nature, Grace, and Religious Development? Was that a book that he promoted in novitiate or something? I don't know
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah,
Adrian
Yeah.
Van Cam, Religion and Personality.
Okay,
Remember that
yeah.
One thing I remember about Newbold was that pond in the back.
Oh, my gosh.
Remember they had the pond, and in wintertime it would freeze over.
Right. We played hockey or tried to.
I think they had lights out there, and we would play hockey on that pond. And the only guy that really knew how to play hockey was Reggie.
Yeah,
Uh,
only one.
And
That's right.
and the rest of us,
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't play hockey to save my life, but I remember like being a goalie, and when Reggie would come near, the way I would defend against Reggie was to take him out and just tackle him.
Hey,
Yeah.
if I do have a regret, but I really don't, if I hadn't have been so foolish to say to Ed Curtin when he asked me to try out for the basketball team, I've never been in a gym before and I'm a hockey player, I might have played with you guys. He thought I was a good enough athlete, but I mean, I couldn't bounce a basketball and walk.
Yeah, well, you knew how to ice skate, boy.
Well, I have to tell you this. In 8th grade, I was thinking, what do I want to do? And I loved hockey, and I was a very good player. I thought I want to go to Sherbrooke, Quebec, to the Christian Brothers so I can play hockey in high school. Or Father Flavian Wilson, the vocation director at that time, came to visit me at home. It made such an impression on me that I said, hey, I'll go this summer for a week to your vocation camp. That sold the deal. There was no more going to Canada to play hockey. I was going to go to Carmel.
They were kidnappers.
They were, boy, they hold that chocolate ice cream out in front of you, that swimming pool and the PX and fudge cakes and devil dogs. And oh man, that was hard to resist.
Hey, John, you were mentioning about that book in the novitiate.
Yes.
Another one that we had was Religion and Personality by Adrian Van Cam. I still have that thing.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
Wow.
Yeah,
It's got
mentioned
about
that,
5
Lou, right?
pages.
That made an impression.
No,
Yeah.
it's got about 15 pages where I've read it and I've got notes on the side and the rest of it's blank. I either didn't have religion or didn't have personality. I don't know which one.
Since we're talking about
The only-
aging, I'm reading, finishing a book called Lifespan. If you heard of it, it's really current, by David Sinclair. And he's a researcher, PhD, and you can get an ebook. And he's stating that aging is a disease which you can treat. And it's it's very technical, so it's hard to plow through it. But once you get over that aspect, he's talking about you could actually treat aging. And I'm looking at some of the supplements he's recommending. There's NMN. I can't find it, but that's the latest. And ripamycin is another one where it strengthens the telomeres in your brain to continue your aging. But it was really fascinating. But the other thing he said, and we were talking about this earlier, is that on the other, what's the negative? If people live longer, do you need children? What are we going to do with the food supply? War, where are we going to put people? And it creates a whole different world. We use more plastics and everything else. It was kind of an interesting book. So Lifespan by David Sinclair is really fascinating.
Oh,
Hey, you know what I'm thinking as we're having this discussion? I think it's really valuable. Would this have been great if there would have been a class at Niagara that let us just form it for ourselves? Nobody teaching us philosophy, nobody teaching us anything, but just letting us share like this, you know, this wisdom and these insights that would be, I mean, I wish we could have had something like that when we were in. That would have been wonderful.
Yeah.
I remember Brendan Hill, who was at Carmel, and he was the dean. And we had just finished our college. Remember those comprehensive exams, they called it? Oh, gee. And so I remember he came up to me and he said, "Oh, Luke, congratulations, you completed your college degree." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I thought you would be a little bit more ecstatic that you are happy completing." I said, "Father, I'm very happy." But he said, "What?" I said, "Now I feel I can get an education." And he wanted me to elaborate. And I said, I felt part of, and I still feel the same way for the lot of college students I work with. Education today is about memory. You just get the data, you give it to the teacher, you get a good exam, you get a grade, you get a GPA, and you move on. And there's no ability, and Regis, you said earlier, where's the ability to think differently and critically, like Father Humphrey Bob we were talking about? He just made us think as individuals, and people don't want to be an individual. They want to be like everybody else.
the
I've
nature of
I've
education.
never been like everybody else.
We weren't going to mention that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about aging, and a while back there was a movie with Clint Eastwood, and I think it had a song, but he talked about don't let the old man in, don't let the old man in. That really struck a chord with me. Relative to aging. Don't let the old man in. You can think about that.
John, someone said to me yesterday, getting old is not for wimps.
Right.
It reminds me of that movie.
Hey, guys, have any of you felt like answering when somebody says how old you are? I feel, and I think like I'm 30 or 40.
Well,
my body may not feel that way, but that's how my mind and my soul feel.
yeah,
I want to don't let the old man in, John.
yeah. I always say I'm not a day over 30.
You're probably
Except-
not one day over 30.
If there's one way to feel old is trying to put your pants on, that's for sure.
And stay standing.
Yeah, right. Right. When you got to sit down and put on your pants, you know you've reached the threshold.
You're in trouble.
Robert, you're killing me. You're killing me every morning. Jesus, I can't get the left leg in.
Hey, Bob, one of the things when I teach or give presentations on geriatrics about aging is men have to get up in the middle of the night once or twice or three times and go to the bathroom. The other thing is when they're out with other people, they go to the bathroom and they forget to pull their zipper up when they come back to dinner. And you know when you're really getting old, when you go out with the dinner group and you go out to the bathroom, you come back and you forget to put your zipper down when you go back to the bathroom, then you know you're old.
Oh, you're killing me. Oh, you're killing me.
There's another thing at the law firm I'm at. I'm definitely the oldest person there, no question. I'm kind of the old weird guy in the corner, but that's all right. They leave me alone. But when they have meetings to discuss the future, I'm not invited.
That is-
They don't want to see the future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me. I laugh, but
Yeah. Yeah. It's just
Well,
a
you know-
number anyways.
you know, John, I think that's characteristic. As we get older, I think we acquire more wisdom and more insight. And it's a shame that these younger people are just casting us off like we don't matter anymore.
I know. Yeah.
But there's so much wisdom and insight that has come from this long
Yeah.
journey that we've been on.
And then there's, another thing, there's diversity is the big, huge thing, at least in the law trade.
Yeah.
Law firms being diverse and everything. And you go to these conferences and they talk about gender and race and all that. And that's great. But one thing they're afraid to talk about is aging.
Right.
And they never bring that up. It's a real hot potato.
Aging's got a bad reputation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's an attitude that we cultivate in our society, and we
Yeah.
pick that up. And
Well, yeah, it
I've never
depends on the
felt that way.
society, maybe. Might depend on the society, the culture, but yeah. The old are respected. US has been a youthful looking country forever, it seems like. Nobody wants to get old. You want to do anything you can to keep from looking old or being old, and yet you're gonna get old no matter what.
And they, talk about discrimination against various groups, and God knows it's out there and it's horrible. They never talk about discrimination about the old guys.
Right.
Uh,
Well,
speaking of that, John, I wonder with our conversation, which I always enjoy, is there any way that we can preserve what we have? Give you an example. What I did with the pandemic, because my job was cut and I had extra time. And what I decided to do last year was to think about it, so I developed my son wanted me to write a book, and I sat down and I got to the title, that was it. But I spent about 5 months last year developing what I call LDH legacy. And I went back to my, all my files, which I was digitized, and I have like 20,000 files. And I decided to develop my journey from my ancestors' family tree up till the present time with pictures. And I put on a Carmel degree and my picture in the novitiate and the fire. And they were just snapshots rather than the book. I wonder if there's anything that we could do and maybe share with each other and put it in a portal so we don't lose that heritage. I mean, that's fascinating, the stories that we share.
mhm.
Yeah, I don't have time to write a book, but I've been taking photographs and video for a long
Yeah.
time. And I hope I get a chance to finish it. I'm doing a video only for my children and
That's what I
grandchildren
have.
on who their grandparents were. I didn't know the great grandparents, and my life growing up and developing high school, college, novitiate, Rome, and the life thereafter. Yeah, it's already in progress. I hope that I can finish. I have a script all written, anyway, it's a good idea, Lou, because I think that each of us has a legacy that's invaluable.
Yeah, I actually developed it and I put it on a CD, a DVD, password protected for my children. And I shared it with a colleague and they said, you should put a narrative to it. I didn't, I shared it with that person. And for the attorneys, I have my estate plan on there and what's called the letter of instruction, right?
Mhm.
Where it tells you specifically, living trusts are better, at least in Pennsylvania. And I developed the letter of instruction that gives me specifically to my son and daughter where everything is and where the passwords find. You can find the passwords to get in all the digital assets. It was a good journey. So I'm ready.
Lou, make sure you write your own obituary.
I actually, I have. And I wrote my own eulogy, ironically enough. What I had to do, Bob, I have to update it.
Well, Well,
Here's
you
what-
know
here's a
what
good
Yogi
story. Here's a
Berra
good-
used to say about that.
I'll share you with my
Yogi Berra-
little, I'll give my, it's a poem I wrote, my eulogy. I'll share it with you.
Oh,
You know,
Oh, yes.
you know what Yogi Berra said about all this?
That's right. It ain't over until it's over.
No, it was better than that. He said, you better go to your friends' funerals or they won't come to yours.
When I was working at St. John Vianney, I would go to a lot of funerals because priests in the diocese would die. So you're kind of obligated to represent the Catholic institution. So one of the thoughts I came up with is I was concerned about when I die, because we're going to eventually die, how many people are going to come to your funeral, right? And I was a little getting worried about it. And I said, I don't want to die and no one shows up or even know I died. So I decided to write my own mass, my own funeral mass. So I outlined who I want to come. And then I reached a point after a couple of years that I was okay that no one came to my funeral. I'm all right with that. I worked through that process
Hey, you
psychologically.
won't miss anybody.
Yeah. Then I reached another point. I became very, how would I put it? Went to the next stage. I didn't want anyone to come. And then I reached the next stage where I'm now. I would like to have my funeral mass when I'm alive, and then we could tape it. And then you could buy for $9.95 the DVD-ROM, and I can give more money to my kids. That's the way I was thinking of it.
Lou, you've been busy during COVID. We can see.
I have been, yes, that's.
Yeah, he's really swamped.
Hey, speaking of this, here's another one. To be buried in the ground, or cremation.
Cremation,
Cremation.
no question. Don't
Yeah,
wanna
mine's
see
already
that
paid
mistake.
for.
Cremation, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not-
And
Here's the other question, and maybe Kevin can ask where we are. I went to at the Jesuit University, I went to a silent retreat for like 5 years in a row. I went to the Jesuit priest and he said, you got 45 minutes. And I said, I have 3 questions I'm sure we all need to ask. I said, does God exist? Was Christ human and divine? And is there an afterlife? The first one, I'm pretty sure, I think there's because of intelligent design, I'm pretty sure there's a God in this atmosphere. Christ, human and divine, I'm not sure. The afterlife, I'm not really sure of. So, and it doesn't bother me if there's no afterlife because I lived a good life here. So, Kevin, is there really an afterlife? And
Well, the way I've thought
maybe that's
about
an
that.
agenda for the next time. I don't really know. I
Yeah.
don't,
I've thought about that, and I have a cousin that she's older than I am, actually. She lives up in Maine. But anyway, for me, if there's nothing, there's nothing. I'm not gonna know.
yeah,
It's all
exactly.
over. And if there is, all right,
It's a bonus.
it's a bonus, exactly. But I would want to be cremated. Some people ask if you can spread the ashes and all that stuff. And all I can think of is all those relics of those saints. They have parts of their bodies all over the world. Why
Right.
couldn't you have your ashes
Why can't
spread
we?
out all over the place? What difference does it make? God.
We should sprinkle it back in Mount Carmel, right?
Yeah,
That would really.
Anyway,
wake 'em
I'm
up.
gonna have to head out here.
yeah, it's getting
But
late.
this has been great. I've really enjoyed talking and being and listening to all you guys. Okay, till the next time, okay?
Yeah,
Kevin,
be safe.
Okay,
Kevin,
Yeah,
Kevin,
Yeah.
put your bulletproof vest on for God's sake.
I know. Well, that's why I've been getting these WhatsApp calls from my family, so I'm gonna try to get back to them.
Hey,
How long
John,
are you how long are you there, Kevin?
No, I'm only gonna be here I've been here for a month. I'm only gonna be here for till Wednesday.
Good.
Okay.
Good luck.
well,
Be safe.
as,
I've been out of the States for 2 months, but I've only been in El Salvador for a month.
as John,
So we'll
Prusik-
see. If the airport's open, I'm out of here.
as John Prusik would say, get out of Dodge, Kevin.
That's right. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye, Kevin.
take care.
All right, so long, everyone. We closing a meeting, Reg?
I'm not closing it yet. It's up
Oh,
to,
okay.
it's up to you guys.
We're approaching 90 minutes. I didn't
Kevin.
know if there was a time limit or not.
There's never really been a time limit, guys. When we seem to run out of gas, we end it.
Gosh.
Well, what time did you start today?
11 o'clock this morning. No, I'm gonna, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, 1 o'clock East.
1 o'clock. Oh, I missed it then. I thought it was 2.
Oh,
That's why I'm joining you late. Okay, sorry about that.
Well, boy, you'll have to watch the recording. That the part that
I will.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this. There's 6 of us. We were 7 with Kevin, 2, 4, 6, 7. Do you think some of our classmates have been somewhat hesitant to join the discussions? I think especially after the last one where I said, what's on everybody's mind is the conflict in Ukraine. It's got the whole world up in arms. And a lot of guys said, I don't want to talk about anything political. And then I thought, I wonder if I scared them away.
Don't know.
I don't know if you scared them away.
Bob
You're-
Donnelly had
you're pretty
emailed
scary,
inquiring about an
Reggie.
agenda.
Everybody was talking
you
at once.
scare me, Reggie.
Go ahead.
Reg, I don't think it scared any of them away. I think what really got people concerned is the Patriot Act. That issue is not the discussion, but the Patriot Act, where, I think all of us agree to having open discussion about many things and it doesn't offend us. But I think little concern I had was, is someone going to sneak into these videos and identify us? You know what I mean? That's just crazy thinking, but.
Well, I don't know. From my point of view, I think we went from a high of 16 guys to now 6 or 7 or 8 the last couple of times. These meetings have been some of the most rewarding and enriching meetings for me.
Yeah, they've been energetic.
Well, it's from my point of view to be able to talk to you and you're in Crimea.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And you're right there. And to hear you talk about it is quite something.
The only suggestion you may, where we are now, and maybe even if we didn't confront this issue, is maybe consider in a week or 2 having all the people give feedback to how they want the Zoom meetings to be handled, what they'd like to talk about, maybe something, and that would answer the question what they don't want to talk about. That's one thought I had, just to keep these things going, because
I mentioned, did you see Bob Donnelly's email?
Yeah.
He was inquiring about an agenda, and I kind of thought, even though there was no agenda described, he would join today, but he didn't, so. And I don't know if he's indicative of the 3 Minnesota previous members, Bob, Dale, and
Oh, it's all Reggie. He's scary. He scares us all off.
yeah.
Well, what's interesting, I don't know if you guys look at on YouTube, I put it out as unlisted, and there's 35 to 40 views. So somebody, and unlisted means only the people who get the link can see it, and I send it out only to our classmates. So somebody's watching them.
Oh, here's a question for you guys.
Reggie,
Larry
I logged
Tice,
in 45 times no, I'm only joking.
What was that, Lou? What did you say?
I logged in 45 times. No, I'm only joking.
Well, YouTube doesn't count that way. Once you log in, they don't count it again if you watch it 45 times.
I know.
I have a question. Are any of you guys on the Leo Strickland listserv?
No.
Leo,
Yeah,
That's a big Carmelite alumni, I guess, list. I used to be on it, and then I
Yeah.
changed email addresses, and I was talking to Larry Tice about it, and he's still on it and gets regular messages, and I haven't been back on it. I don't know if you just can log in to find out, or if someone blogs something regularly or not.
Hey,
Yeah.
if I remember, Bob, I'm on somebody's list, and it does transcend age. There's some guys that are many years younger than us, several,
Yeah.
to guys that are our age. If I can remember, the next one I get, I'll forward to you, Bob.
Okay. I think Larry said he was gonna put my new email address, or I don't know if he did it or not. I haven't double checked, but when we were just talking about this, I remember, but there is, and there was, like Leo Strickland must be, I don't know how old he is. I don't remember him exactly, but he has kind of maintained a list of ex-carms or alumni at least. Brian, are you involved in that? Do you know that at all?
Yes. Yeah, I get all the emails that he sends out. And oftentimes he's talking about, events that have happened, okay, or somebody has died or someone's
Yeah.
sick and stuff like that. So it's
Uh,
more informational than anything else. I find
Right.
it kind of interesting, even though I don't know a lot of the guys' names from guys who are younger than us.
Right.
But every once in a while, there's something very interesting on there. I'll do the same thing, Bob. When I get my next one, I'll try to remember to forward it to you. So one of us will remember.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind
Like,
of
I'll write
dropped
myself
off the
a
list
note.
and then forgot about it. And then Larry reminded me of it.
Talking about remembering things, guys. My partner said to me just today, she said, I think you're losing it. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, yesterday I had this dress on, and you said, oh, that's very nice. I've never seen it before. She said, I've worn this 3 or 4 times in the last month.
That happens.
Best laid plans, good
Gotta beware.
compliments, huh?
Yeah, yeah. You were talking earlier about, because I missed the first hour or so, about regrets. And I'm like the rest of you guys, I don't have any regrets of what happened, in the past. Although every once in a while I think back and I says, the only thing I really regretted is the fact that I was so short. And I loved to play basketball. And I
We
was
don't have
only
regrets
wishing
that
that
you
I
were
could
so
be,
short. We don't-
so I wish that I would have been taller so I could have played basketball with you guys. But then I'm like Regis, okay? I could barely dribble the ball and walk at the same time. And I can't play hockey either, even though I know, practically everything there is to know about hockey, but I could not skate. So that shot my whole thing down too. But I just, I guess when I was a little kid, I was a little kid and I just wish I was taller, but I'd still do the same things.
Hey, Brian, who was your uncle, the priest? He was a
Owen.
great hockey player. He and I would play hockey together at Niagara. What was his name?
Yeah. Father Owen.
Owen Cody. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a great
Yeah.
guy, as I remember. He was a really good hockey
Mhm.
player.
Yeah. He was mean.
Mhm.
He must have taken after you.
No, he wasn't like John Prusik would come and
Well,
take me out. He just,
Oh, nobody's like that.
he'd get the puck and just go.
Well, guys, I only got one regret, and it's huge regret.
Mhm.
Missing that last shot at the tip tourney.
Oh.
You know, John, I have a vision. I can see the ball on the rim rolling off. You probably can too.
Yeah.
Rolled off the right. It was on the right side of the rim and it rolled right off and
Yeah.
it didn't roll in. Oh,
Oh, who could ever forget that? And any of us that were there and watching it I
Yeah.
could still see it. And I wasn't even on the floor.
I remember afterwards,
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the floor, pretty, upset. And this newsy guy comes up to me, and he says, well, how does it feel? Okay.
yeah.
And I said, go to hell.
Yeah. I would have said something that would have been an expletive deleted.
Oh, I had emailed Lou not too long ago because I had not seen the video of one of the junior year tech team basketball game and wondered where he got it. And I had, for some reason,
That came from Ed Curtin. He
did
had
it?
it in his attic.
Wow.
Okay. And I had not seen it before.
Yeah.
And of course, I watched it, the whole thing, and the two things occurred to me. One, nobody can make a shot. I didn't see the basketball go in the hoop once. And the second thing was the fans. They had our student body, they had a panned over to them, and trying to recognize each individual kid
Yeah,
from those was hard, except for
That's
Tom Ball. He
impossible.
looks the same. And I think I saw Bilter Hant maybe, but I'm trying to identify these other people in the crowd be
Yeah.
cheering, and it was,
yeah.
take a look at it if you haven't.
I couldn't do it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember it was so intimidating to play in the Boston Gardens
Oh my
and
God.
on that floor. And,
It was incredible. 2
and,
years.
you
Then we do
know-
it junior year and senior year. We had 2 years there,
yeah,
right?
years
yeah,
there.
we had 4 games there. And,
Right,
How
right.
many
right.
games?
Yeah.
but it was
Consider-
intimidating to stand there, and it wasn't like playing in a high school gym.
No,
Yeah,
no,
well,
you're looking
Considering,
up.
well, look, our gym that we practiced in had no stands at all.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we had
We had no chairs,
two walls. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Right.
it had a linoleum floor. The
Yeah,
floor
yeah,
was
linoleum.
Tile.
And
Yeah, and there's
whatever-
a mystique. There's a mystique about the Boston Gardens.
Oh.
Okay, it's just
Yeah,
it's like a
definitely.
sacred place, And
Well,
especially back when we were there.
Yeah.
as
And
a,
whenever we'd watch a game on TV and it's from the Gardens and the parquet floor,
Right.
and I'd say to my kids, do you know, I play, and they would cut me off and they say, Pop, we know you played on the parquet floor.
I
Don't
tell you,
forget, it was called the Garden. It
The
was not the
Garden.
garden. It was the
Garden.
Garden.
That's right.
Boston God.
I'll tell you, I did have one regret. As a kid that loved sports, loved the Celtics, Bob Cousy,
Hmm.
that whole crowd. When I was sitting up in the stands and watching you guys there, I was saying, what a fool you were for telling Curtin you were a hockey player.
I have this weird memory. Do you remember Manuel Simpson, our
Yes.
classmate?
Yeah.
Manuel Simpson, yeah.
He's a basketball player. And for some reason, I have no idea why, but I remember when we were, was it Hamilton, I guess, or maybe it was sophomore year, but the Celtics and the Lakers were big rivals at the time, and Jerry West was playing. And I remember him calling out, or, being a fan of Jerry West, and he named him, and his name at that time was the Zeke from Cabin Creek, because he was from Cabin Creek, West Virginia.
Was he?
And that, I don't know, I had never heard that before. And so that stuck with me. And
Yeah.
apparently it was a somewhat nickname. And of course, Jerry West went on to fame,
Yeah.
with the
One of the-
Lakers and general
one of the
manager and
greats.
everywhere else.
It's,
Yeah.
it's like Giannis now with the Bucks, the Greek
Yeah.
freak.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Greek freak, right, right. And I understand, West never liked the name Zeke.
It's really hard over here to follow American sports.
Uh,
With the time difference and the night games that they play, everybody plays night games. So
Yeah.
I have to resort to looking at ESPN or looking at, some box scores to see what's going on. But I did do this. I love the Patriots and Tom Brady. And when he went to Tampa Bay, I thought, oh, this is great. He's continuing his career. They won the Super Bowl. I paid to watch that game at about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, yeah.
So, do you guys hear at all about this WNBA center that was detained
Russia.
and is locked up in Russia?
Brittany
Yeah.
Griner. Brittany Griner's her
I
name.
don't-
Right.
I don't know what that's all about. What are you guys hearing?
Well, we heard she was trying to leave, I think, in the airport, and they grabbed her
Mhm.
bag and found what they say is some kind of evidence of drugs of some sort, and she's been detained.
Do you think,
I don't know.
she had drugs or, because they're very,
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
did she have a political agenda or?
No, she
No,
was
I
a
think she was
basketball
playing
player.
basketball.
No, just playing
WNBA.
basketball.
Yeah,
I think what they found was some medications that she was taking that were supposedly contraband in some places. But I don't think it was like in the States or in Canada. But it was some kind of medication that she was on. And when they discovered it, they thought it was contraband. And that's why she's been detained.
Wow.
Well,
So, and I don't know what-
but she's played in Russia on numerous years in the off season.
Yes.
And so she's,
And this is the
and
first
so
time-
this trying to come home after the game or prior to the invasion, et cetera. I don't know.
You know,
that
I
was
would,
part of
I
it or
would hate,
not.
I would hate to think that it was a tit for tat.
Yeah.
Russian retaliation for all of their athletes being accused of doping, not being able to play in the Olympics, you know, being cut out of all international competitions. I'd hate to think that that was it, but I can tell you this,
Yeah.
there is zero tolerance in Russia, even for marijuana. You are going to
wow.
you are going to go to jail if you get caught with marijuana.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Zero. And forget about cocaine or any, I've never heard about, I'm sure it's here, but I certainly had never heard about it. I know some people that get marijuana somehow and use it. But they all know that there's zero tolerance for that. There's zero tolerance for drinking, even one drink and driving a car. If you get stopped, you're going to go to jail. I've been to many parties when individuals will say, no, I'm not drinking. And are you driving? No, yeah, not even one drink. So the government, law enforcement has been really strict in those areas. You know, I have to tell you, even Tylenol, you can't buy Tylenol here.
Wow.
It's like a banned substance.
Wow.
Yeah, no kidding. And all of my prescriptions, I say all, I had two, blood pressure and high cholesterol. In the States, I had to get my doctor to refill these prescriptions every month or so. Over here, you don't even need a prescription to get this stuff. You just go in and you say, the only thing that requires a prescription is narcotics.
Hmm.
That's it.
How about Viagra?
It's available.
Yeah.
And you know what they say about why they did it? The government didn't want to do it, but they said, we're going to legalize Viagra, but you're going to have a prescription because we don't want it showing up on the black market and not being the real thing. So now it's available anywhere. And well, it's here. And I think they're probably doing a pretty good business.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, on a different note, two thoughts real quick. Do any of you remember when we were, I think a sophomore year in Niagara, we went to Buffalo to see a concert. And I tell my folks today, but I don't tell them who it was, sometimes who it was, because it gives our age away. Remember Simon Garfunkel? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
You got, really? I don't know how I missed that one. I remember.
Yeah,
Judy.
Simon and Garfunkel. And the second thing is, John and Bob, in Niagara, I don't know what year it was in college. Niagara University, remember Calvin Murphy? He
Oh,
was
yeah.
5'8".
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
He would twirl the baton at halftime.
He would stand
That's
under
right.
the basket stationary and stand straight up and dunk it over his back. It was like incredible.
Yeah.
And he was 5'8" or something like that.
Yeah.
5'8", and he played with the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, we were lucky to see him.
Right.
Didn't know who he was.
Question for you, Lou, a question for you. I can't remember, were you in our freshman Niagara class or sophomore class?
I came in sophomore year.
Sophomore year, that's what I
I was
wondered.
delayed.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, what they wanted to do, Niagara, I don't know who it was, Father Murray. I did not have Latin, and I think I said this earlier.
Yeah.
There was a lot of discussion. They wanted me to repeat my freshman year.
Oh,
And Father Robert says, phooey on you guys. You know how Robert was. And so Humphrey said, no, get a frat to teach him Latin. And I was able to come in my sophomore year. So I thank God for that. My God.
I mean, you couldn't avoid Father Pat's Latin quizzes, could you?
Oh,
I was intimidated because I had Frater Cuthbert was
Oh.
my tutor for 2 years.
I
And then
remember
I
that.
went in my junior year and I had to take those quizzes and I got like 1 or 2. And it was really tough and I really worked at it to the point in my senior year when we took the Auxilium Latinum, I got 118 out of 120. So I feel good about that. I have no regrets.
I never once passed the Bennett test.
That's the Bennett
Regis,
test.
every Saturday, Regis is
Yes.
still going to the Carmel and taking
To-
those Bennett tests.
I was there every single Saturday faithfully.
Yeah, and then I end up in Rome and I'm sitting there in the first day of class with 150 guys from around the world. The Jesuit comes in and he starts with a prayer. And I didn't know if it was Latin or Italian.
Who can refresh me on, I remember Father Pat's Bennett Latin test, but I don't remember the program or what the test, was it a weekly test? And if you didn't pass, you had to go on Saturday, or what was
Yeah.
the deal?
It was a weekly
Yes, that
test on
was it.
Saturday, but I think there were 10. And you had to pass everyone like an 80 or something. And if you failed to pass, you had to continue taking it every Saturday until you did pass it.
Until you
Right,
pass.
Brian?
Yes.
And so guys
Okay.
were taking
Yes.
10 tests at the end of the year.
Yeah. I think
tell
it
you
was
what,
by chapter, then the Bennett book.
Bennett
was-
book,
They have a
yeah,
test
yeah,
on each chapter.
right,
Mhm.
right.
Hey, I'll tell you what, they
Gaul is
should have,
divided into 2 parts.
they,
You
they,
flunk.
they should have sent some of you guys to Rome instead of me. You get 118 out of 120 in Auxilium Latinum. You should have gone to Rome.
Yeah,
There was one time I wanted to major in math. Then I took trigonometry with that guy from St. Catherine's Parish who was teaching it. And that changed my mind. Then I wanted to major in Latin and then major in Greek. And I'm so glad I didn't do any of that. I majored in sociology, which is really good.
with reference to Latin, John, you might appreciate this. I was watching the Supreme Court or listening to the Supreme Court confirmation hearings for Jackson. And I just happened to listen to it in the car or something. Anyway, they referred to a type of lawsuit that was called, and they called it, both the candidate and the senators, Quitam, Q-U-I-T-A-M, Quitam lawsuits. And the first thing I said to me, that should be Quitam, is my understanding of Latin pronunciation from Father Bennett. It's Quitam, and I was shocked that the senator and Justice Judge Jackson both said Quitam. And I said,
I
where
could
did that
not
come
remember-
from?
Yeah.
What's this world come to?
These-
Hot
Yeah,
dogs.
exactly.
See
I
that?
mean, you
Your
can't even get Latin
your education did
pronunciation
pay
right.
off. Yeah, your education did pay off.
We
You
have to
guys
go
remember
American.
Cicero's oration to the Roman Senate that we had to
Oh, yes.
memorize?
Mhm.
Well, if
Gosh.
you don't, it goes quousque tandem abutere Catalina paciencia nostra.
Whoa,
Quam Dio etiam fruor tuus,
Oh.
no saludat. Quem ad diem, and so forth.
oh my
Wow.
Are you
God.
reading off of a cue card?
No, we had to memorize that. Don't you remember that?
I
should-
remember
Yeah.
memorizing, but I don't remember it.
I think
Don't you also remember-
my Latin pronunciation is limited to Dominus Vobiscum, I think.
Don't you remember they had Vatican II council, and then the edict came out that they wanted to preserve Latin. And I think in senior year at Hamilton, Patrick wanted to institute conversational Latin. Is that right?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember.
Conversational Latin, and he got frustrated. It was like toward the end of our senior year, and he got very frustrated because we were asking for questions like, hey, what's the Latin word for television and telephone? And Patrick got very frustrated. So the final exam on Latin in our senior year was the 1,400 vocabulary words. I remember that.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
And I remember I scored, I still to this day, I remember I was really obstinate. I got 1398 out of 1,400. I remember that.
I don't
He was
think
I
so
don't,
frustrated.
wow.
I don't think I passed.
You were
Here's-
good at
here's a-
flunking, Reggie.
Here's another question for reminiscing. What do any of you remember of our recreation time watching TV, and what TV shows were available that we could review? I remember Shindig.
I don't remember that. All I remember was Chet Huntley and David Brinkley.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And
That was
I remember-
religious.
I
By the-
remember
Oh,
a musical
oh.
variety show, kids, popular musical variety show. I remember the Hamilton Rec Room where we had Frankie Lane and a couple of those LP records that played over and over again.
Yeah, Johnny Horton going to Alaska or something like that.
Right,
Road
north to Alaska,
Alaska.
north to Russia's own, yeah.
Jeez.
I just remember playing a lot of ping pong and
Yep.
shooting a lot of pool.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
one of the things that I've thought of, what recollection and memories do you have of the infirmary, especially at Hamilton?
Oh,
Were
boy.
any of you ever infirmatized?
One
I
time.
was.
It was over the
Yeah, I
gym.
was,
It was in the back of the gym, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Up in the top, second floor.
yeah. Louis, were you ever in there?
One time. Yeah, one time. I had the flu or something for a day or two.
yeah.
Yeah, I was in there a few times. I kept having that problem with my knee.
Mm.
That it just would blow up like a balloon. And first I had to go to that doctor down in Hamilton, and he would stick this great big needle in me, a horse needle, and he would extract this fluid. And
Mhm.
another time, because of that, I got infected. And
Oh,
Oliver Coleman was really afraid that this could be really serious, because I had these red streaks up and down my leg.
ugh.
And I guess what some doctor told him was sit him in a bathtub as long as he can stay there for as many times in a day and just soak that knee in this really, really hot water. And so I have that vivid memory of sitting
Yeah.
in some kind of a bathtub soaking this thing. So, this infection, and it did, it went away. That's troubled me my whole life. I mean, that knee has been,
Really?
Since you asked, my only infirmary memory was between basketball games. I played one basketball game and got the flu or something, and I was in the infirmary for many days, and I just got over it, missed all the practices, but was able to play in the next game. Not very well, I don't think,
Yeah.
but I was able to, come back from some kind of flu or sickness or whatever it was.
I don't remember, like, there would be, when a flu came around during the, winter months or whatever, which was normal. I don't remember like everything being shut down or that the infirmary was filled. I
No,
think we were pretty damn healthy.
Yeah, that's what my recollection.
My only memory is either freshman or sophomore year at Niagara High School, where a bunch of us got the flu, and they had cordoned off part of one of the dorms, and they had quarantined us in there. And I can remember there must have been about 8 or 10 of us in there. And I can remember we had a phonograph record and we listened to Bill Cosby stories for hours on end. And that was supposed to make us feel better. Well, it did at the time. But that's my only memory of the infirmary, is being cordoned off in one of the dorms. Because there was at least 10 or 12 of us who all had the flu at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably nobody else remembers that.
I remember freshman year, you were just little kids and I got really sick. I can't recall what it was. And I was in the Niagara Infirmary for about a week.
Mm.
But the thing I remember was you could still, even if you were sick, you could still go down and attend mass in one of the side chapel, not the big chapel, and take communion. And I remember I was kneeling there. This was before they handed it out. They place it on your tongue. So I was kneeling there, sick as a dog, and Father Murray's about to give me communion, and I just totally fainted and fell flat on my face. And they had to carry me back up to the infirmary.
Wow, that's a memory. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
That's
that.
called that's called ecstasy.
Hey, I don't know if you remember, it was, we were all getting ready to leave to go home. I think it was in senior year. And I was in a in a room, doubled up with Art Hill. And we had our window open and all kinds of like flies or wasp or bees or whatever had gotten in the room. And I went in there like a fool with a can of Raid and sprayed it all over the place. That night, I come down with streaks all over my body.
Oh, God.
They took me to that doctor, whoever he was in Niagara, and he said he's got scarlet fever. And I was quarantined to my room, and the whole building was under lockdown. They weren't going to let anybody go home until they could really determine that it wasn't scarlet fever. And this is what happened. So I'm laying in bed and I'm noticing that this red stuff, this infection is going from one side of my body to the other. And Morris Wells, biology teacher, he had been coming in, and I don't know if he was the infirmarian, but he had been coming in to see me. And after a day, he said, "You don't have scarlet fever. You got blood poisoning, and it's traveling through your system from one side to the other." He said, "You'll be over this in another day or so." And it was. Well, for about 24 hours, I was the most godforsaken SOB in the school. They weren't going to let anybody go home.
Yeah.
Wow. That wasn't related to the
name of
spraying
that?
of Raid, was it? You
What?
didn't get that because, did you get that because you sprayed the Raid?
Yeah,
can?
yeah. Morris Wells was convinced that I ingested this stuff. It got
Ah,
into my system and it was traveling through my blood system through my body. And
Hmm.
it did it. After a day or two, it was gone.
You know,
Yeah.
playing sports, basketball in particular, I remember spraining my ankle like 4 or 5 times. And one of the experiences as you're talking, I never had an X-ray of my ankle. I think to this day, my ankle might be deformed without me knowing it. All I remember is you went up to this room in Carmel or at Hamilton, and we had to put ice, and then you put heat, a lot of heat, as much as you
Oh,
could tolerate. And
oh,
that was
yeah.
it. Hot water, and then that was supposed to make you feel better. And then there was never an X-ray done. I'm looking back and saying, we never had an X-ray of anything. It's just
Everything, Louis, everything was always a sprain back then.
everything was a
right.
sprain, you know?
my ankle sprain story, I never got x-rayed either, but on a hike at Hamilton, we would hike somewhere and play basketball in the outdoor courts, and have a little lunch or whatever it was. I sprained both ankles in the basketball game, and then I walked back to Hamilton.
Yeah, exactly what we
Both sprained ankles, and never got an x-ray. And
we survived. I don't know.
yeah.
The
We were
relatives.
amazingly healthy. We really
We
were.
were.
when you
Yeah.
think about it.
We were, yeah. Well, I can remember at Niagara when I fractured my wrist playing some basketball. And I think it was Mike Beener and myself were playing basketball, and we both fell backwards and we thought we sprained our wrists. And so we went probably about 3 or 4 days, going around with this sore wrist. And finally, Father Murray sent us over to this doctor. Do you remember his name?
No.
Dr. Smith. I don't know why I remember that name. Anyways, we went over to the doctor's office, and they took an X-ray. They actually took an X-ray of the wrist because it was still swollen and hurting after 3 days, and it had fractured. And same with Mike Beener. So we both had casts on our wrists.
Oh, wow.
And Mike was really funny because he hated the cast. So what he was able to eventually do is kind of fiddle away at the bottom of it and loosen it so he could take it off during the day. And when he was around other people, he put it back on again.
And
I
he's a
don't know
good,
why.
He's a doctor today.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
I play
I
a
wonder
lot
if
of
he remembers
tennis.
that story.
And a couple of years ago, I'm playing tennis and I was hit a great, one of my best backhands, but I fell and I injured my left arm. And I think it's kind of the experience that we've had in the seminary where you just tolerate pain.
Yeah, tough.
And so my buddy said, you better go to the ER. And I said, no, I can, orientation, date, time and place, no blood, no, I don't see any bones. I went 2 weeks.
Hasn't fallen off.
Yeah, it hadn't fallen off. I went 2 weeks and every night it was bad. And so I was down Cape May, New Jersey for a week vacation. And I said, oh my God, this is getting worse. And my concern was I saw a blue line and I was concerned about the blood, going up to the heart. So I said, I'm going to stop at the ER, but knowing how healthcare works, I'm coming up to the shore, I had a suntan and I stopped in the ER and said, I need to get examined. And I said, what happened? Well, in order for insurance to cover it, I said, listen, I fell honestly 2 weeks ago, but I re-injured my arm. So insurance could cover it. They took an x-ray, had a broken wrist and a broken elbow for 2 weeks. I mean, I'm so stupid, like you don't go to the ER or something, and they put a cast on. So I asked the guy, can you give me credit for the healing? He said, yeah, I'll give you credit.
Mhm.
So we were naive back in those days, and we're even naive
Yep.
today,
Well, everything, you're talking about being tough, we were, but everything,
Shake it off.
everything was a sprain. I
Yeah,
mean,
every-
they
that's
had,
all-
they hadn't even done Joe Namath's first knee surgery yet.
Right.
Well, anyway,
Definitely.
so are we petering out, guys? We're,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think. Hey,
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Hey, I'm-
Hey, Bob, remember when you go.
maybe we should do a potty break here somewhere in the middle of this.
Right. That
All
makes
right,
sense.
guys. Yeah, this was great. We'll look forward to seeing you all another couple of weeks.
Yeah, maybe you
All
put out
right.
some
Next time I'll
ideas
get here
So
about-
at
long,
1 o'clock.
everyone.
ask people for some ideas for an agenda and give them
Yeah.
some additional incentive to join in. It was
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe that's a good
Safe.
idea, that you had,
Safe,
Lou, to
everybody.
inquire ahead of time whether or not more people can show up.